Hey everyone, welcome back to Two Rivers Tabac Book Club. I'm your host Andrew, and I'm joined by my co-host Josh.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. We're talking about Fairy Tale, Stephen King's banger from 2022.
Let's go.
Um, it's really good. I mean, we're about to get into it. We just read chapters. What was it, 9 through 15? Did I get that correct?
Yep,
Okay,
I
cool.
think so, yeah.
Yep, 9 through 15. Just as a disclaimer before we start here, we do talk about spoilers, so here's your spoiler alert. Alert, alert. Spoilers.
Yes. Spoilers.
We also don't talk about every single thing. There's a lot of detail, especially in this section. We're not necessarily going to go through every single detail, but if we do miss something and you want us to talk about it, feel free to just let us know, and we certainly can try to fit it into the next episode. But that's your other warning. We don't talk about everything. We just talk about what we think is interesting.
Yep, no more warnings now.
All bets are off.
All bets are off.
Okay, so first note I have here, obviously in the previous episode we talked about how Howard dying was really going to signal, at least to me, the next section, like the next crescendo in this series or in this book. And it's almost like now that I'm like looking at these notes as a whole, we're coming off of a big fantasy series, a long one, and it's kind of refreshing to be reading like just a one-off book like this because a ton of stuff happens really quickly, like in a longer series it takes a while for some of these things to unfold. There's more detail, which in its own way is really fun as well, but it's kind of nice to have a one-off book like this where it's like bang 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 bang, as far
Yeah.
as things happening. So obviously, like I said, Howard dies and then leaves Charlie the house. And then we have an awesome section here. And correct me if I'm wrong, but obviously Howard leaves the tape and they read it, but I'm pretty sure it's Stephen King who reads it.
Oh, it's definitely Stephen
Yeah, but
King.
I
Like,
don't know if he's just really old now, because obviously he's really old, or if he's just trying to read it in like a raspy coffee voice. Obviously, like the coughing is probably a little bit simulated, but he does a really good job, to be
yeah, he
honest. I
does
mean,
do a
he
good
is an
job.
old ass man, so I
Yeah.
mean, at
Yeah.
this point, 2022, yeah, I mean he's pretty old now. So I thought it was really clever and fun that he read it. And obviously, we're talking about the audiobook version. If you're reading, the written page, um, like a true scholar,
Mm. Oh yeah.
you wouldn't get to hear Stephen King's beautiful raspy voice. But it was a lot of fun when they cut to the tape and it was Stephen King's voice, and they even put like static in the background to make it sound like it's
Yeah.
a real tape. It was really
It
cool.
was
It's
really
like
cool.
what you can do with audiobooks is fun, like stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah. That's what I know this isn't like off topic or anything, but like that's like when they do stuff like this in the audiobooks, like it's like I feel like this is what the audiobooks have over just reading the books. Like they can really dramatize it because like in Dune, the audiobook does like the same thing. It has like different voice actors for characters, and it's very entertaining. And even like the Bible audiobook is very dramatic and like orchestraic, and so it's like keep your attention. So it's just kind of like with audiobooks like this, like I love that they could do this and they put the effort in to make it more entertaining. Like how for like the Dark Tower series, they have like an old man kind of reading it because like Roland's the main character and he's old as fuck. So it's like
Yeah.
it comes off like okay, this is like authentic. And then this book is written by kind of like a young adult talking about his teenager years. And
Mhm.
so they
Mhm.
got like a younger guy to do it. And then, so it's like the whole experience with the audiobook is great because you can really get immersed into it because if they had like some real old dude like read all the teenager stuff, like because this book's like written like first person, so like the young adult who's in his like 20s or so, or I think I can't
He,
really remember, but
yeah, he's in. Yeah, I get. Yeah, you're right because he's in his 20s talking about how when he was 17.
yeah. So if they got like someone who sounds like they're in their 60s or something, then it would completely take me out of the audiobook. And I if I think that's fine if they did. I just like how they put in the extra effort to make it, like, more of an experience, so you're getting more for your more, was it more for your buck or whatever?
Yeah, bang for your buck.
Bang for your buck, yeah, that's what
Yes,
it was.
sir. Yeah, the
But,
next or no, go ahead.
what I was gonna say is about this whole section, uh, in the earlier sections, like, when we talked about Howard had, like, a roommate and he told Charlie, he's like, "Oh, that guy, he has ticker problems, but I don't have to worry about that," and, of course, he dies of a heart attack, so it's
Yeah,
almost
good
like
point.
foreshadowing, like,
That's a
he
good
has
callback. Yes.
right? He has all these problems, yet, uh, he the heart attack is what gets him, and it's almost like it's like, if you know Stephen King, like, you read a lot of his books, then you could probably have called that. But if this is, like, your first time reading a Stephen King book, then you're probably like, "Oh, so I wonder what's gonna get him, the cancer, old age, like, what's gonna get him?" Uh, but I feel like, I kinda yeah, like, assumed it wasn't gonna be any of the problems stated is why he was gonna die. So it's like, uh
Yes.
yeah, but what did you think about his death scene, I guess?
Yeah, I thought it was I know we talked about it obviously. Yeah, it's a first person perspective. The audiobook is done super well. You have a young person and then the tape. I just loved the tape, man. It gripped me. Like I've been obviously like we read a lot of good books. We've read a lot of even just in the short span that we've had this book club, we've read a lot of good books. But like man, this is one of those moments where I was just so gripped because you want to know like what's in the shed, right? You
Yeah,
want to know what's in the shed. You want to know why Howard is so weird and like mysterious and stuff, and why he has all this fucking gold. So not only was the tape done super well, and of course Stephen King's voice is gonna like get me sucked into it, but like I was just gripped by every word in the tape. So I thought it was done really well. Where like it's kind of a clever way because you could just have Howard say it, right? He made it like more suspenseful, right? Because you could just have Howard sit Charlie down and tell him all this shit, and then he just dies, right? Later, like the
yeah,
next day or something. But instead, you have it more dramatic, where like he dies, and then you have this awesome rendition of the tape that like puts you on the edge of your seat because you're like just fucking read the tape.
yeah. And, when you hear how he talks over the tape, like, he talks to Charlie like they're, like, old buddies and everything, and it's
Yeah,
like, but then when they're in person, like, it's like it's one of those relationships that you just kinda have to, like, it's hard to explain, but you can just feel it to where
yeah,
they have a really close relationship, but they're a little distant in their communication because they both feel it, but they're not gonna, like, say it or, like, express it that much, you know? So,
definitely.
uh like, in the audio tape, I got that's, like, underneath the surface, this is how their relationship truly was, and it's like, we're shown that. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say,
Yeah,
but,
I mean, I think that I get what you mean because like the tone of the tape is very friendly, right?
yeah,
In comparison to most of their interactions, like you know that they're both like really good friends at this point, like care for each other a lot, but it really comes out in this tape when like his last moments, he's being, super friendly with
yeah.
them
So I thought that was interesting because
and kind of treating him like an equal
yeah,
at that point.
yeah,
So,
because like, it's because a lot of the jobs, like, I've worked at, even though, like, the one I work at now, I have, like, a older friend who's, like, he's, like, either as old as my dad or older, and so but he's, like, a friend, so it's like so that's kinda, like, how I see this relationship, and it's like, "Oh, okay."
yeah,
It
almost
just makes sense.
like a friend and also a mentor because obviously they know Howard knows more than him
Oh,
because he's way older.
I wouldn't say my friend's more of a mentor. This way.
I suppose it
But
depends.
it's funny. But yeah, I
Well,
think it was done pretty good. It would have been really boring, I guess, if it would have just been, all right, Charlie,
let me just tell you everything
let
about
me
this
just tell
fucking
you.
hole.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
tell you everything.
yeah. It
Because
would have been that fun.
now, yeah, right? Because now we get to experience everything as Charlie explores, you know?
Yes, that too. That part was really good too. And obviously, the next innovation of the audiobook is going to be smell. So that way, like when Charlie goes in there, we can smell the rotting cockroach. And
Right? So
oh
I
man,
I I know in one of the past videos I was saying that one of those that the noise coming from the shed was obviously like a teleporter,
yeah,
like
like
the
a
thinny.
thinny. Yo, that was a
Yeah, if anything,
really
which
yeah. I mean, that was pretty apt at the time,
yeah,
honestly.
looks like I was wrong. It wasn't the thinny.
Yeah,
It was a buck and bug,
a fucking bug. And in true like fairy tale fashion, it's just like a hole with a long staircase to another world.
right?
It's like I don't know, man. It's an awesome book because I mean, obviously Stephen King is a really good writer. But like naming it fairy tale and then like going off of that theme, but being also able to put his own flair into it, you know? It's just I don't know, it's just a good book. I'm like sucking Stephen King's dick at this point, but it's like I don't know. It's
Curved like a
because
scimitar.
it's like I think we're coming, and again, we're coming off of a long fantasy series that has a lot of different themes and a lot of different characters and a lot going on. It's kind of nice to just like read a book where it's just a fairy tale. Like it's got a
Yeah,
fairy tale theme and then it's got a little bit of dark, themes in it because it's Stephen King, but overall it's just kind of like a fairy tale and it's fun. It's just like a
yeah.
fun read. So,
I like how he's pretty much writing like a grim fairy tale,
yes, right, and
but
he references that obviously,
yeah,
of course.
but it's definitely gonna have it's gonna have a happier ending than probably than a grim fairy tale.
I would think.
So
I would think,
yeah,
but
because
you never know.
you never know. Well, I mean,
He is old now,
it,
so.
yeah. Well, I mean, Charlie even at the beginning of the book sounds pretty optimistic about like when he's like an adult and
Hmm.
he's like, "This actually happened to me,"
Good
and
point.
it's like
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine it having a bad ending. And not everything Stephen King writes has a bad ending. Like Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, that's a
Well,
good
I
ending.
haven't read the book, so
I'm pretty sure
but the
it's pretty
movie
similar,
has a
but
good,
yeah, from what I've heard.
yeah. Or like it has a
Yeah,
pretty good
it's
ending,
pretty good ending. Yeah.
pretty happy ending. So or the body. Well, I guess the body it depends. Stand by Me.
Hmm.
But I'm not going to spoil. We'll wait till spoiler signs at the end of the video before I just talk about shit like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's like I don't see this being having a sad ending, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I'm interested to see like I mean, I guess we'll talk about the end of this section. I'll save it for then, but it's an interesting parallel because it's like it's a really cool thing to have this staircase hole thing that goes to another world full of different shit and then also being able to like rewind your life. That's pretty impressive, but at the same time, Stephen King always has his realistic take where it's like, and obviously Howard talks about it, but it's like if people actually found out this thing existed, it would be absolutely ravaged and mined for all its resources.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's equally really cool, but also like Howard said, a burden. So I'm interested to see like what after his adventure in there, what happens to it, and like what he does with it. But
yeah. Because why would he write a story about it and then release it?
exactly, so it makes you think like um, he does something like I don't know what's gonna happen in the end. Maybe the whole world
Yeah.
blows up, or like he covers up the hole and hides it, or like whatever. I don't know.
Maybe like the way to get to it gets destroyed,
Yeah,
and
or
so no
that
one can ever
right.
get to it ever again.
Like he's running out of there, and the flight killer's coming after him, and they have to like seal it or whatever. Yeah.
So I'm starting to get the feeling that this book is just a mixture of like a modern fairy tale and a grim fairy tale, because it's gonna have the darker stuff from the grim side,
Hmm.
but is ultimately gonna be uh happy at the end, like modern fairy tales. But
Yes.
but I wonder what the moral of this story is going to be, because like the uh so like the grim fairy tales always have like a moral
Right.
that
Yeah.
comes from it. That's why it's so dark, because it's like, do this or die. you know.
Yeah, it's very
The
intense, but it has a message.
Yeah. So, but and a lot of modern fairy tales are very fluffy and don't really have much to it. It's so it's like uh, we're like they're butchering of the originals, but they're like, I guess they're just trying to be happy, like be more on the fun side of life rather than always having to be serious. So it's like having a
Yeah.
mixture of both of that. I'm kind of just starting to think, what is Stephen King trying to tell us? What is the moral of this story? Is it that life is precious and that and that no matter what your disability is, you should still live on
The moral is
or
that
try
if
to live on?
you're a Giga Chad, everything works out.
Dude, right? Talk about freaking Goose Girl, you know what I'm
Oh my
saying?
god, let's go,
She
dude.
can
Goose
she
Girl,
can
no fucking
she
mouth, no
bro,
mouth.
she can choke on my goose.
Oh my god.
So
uh, I hated the scene when she stuck her fingernail in her like mouth hole. That like gave me the. I don't know why it gave me the creeps.
Ugh.
Like I've read a lot of this shit now. Like we read a decent amount where it's like kind of gross or whatever, and none of it has really like bothered me that much. I don't know why that bothered me. It just did. I don't know. It's just
uh, it
disgusting.
it didn't really like after. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna spoil the exact thing that happens in the dark tower,
Right.
but it was like the scene was like a gross kind of like the guy was eating another person's like pus from their
Oh yeah.
pimple or whatever. Like that got
That
to
was
me. Like that was
gross.
disgusting. I was like, and even just talking about it, I'm just like, so it's like after going from like that to this, I'm like, you know what, this is far superior and I can
That's fair.
handle. It's not as gross as the other as the other thing. So I was just like,
uh,
so it's fine. So uh what do you think about having Charlie literally write in the, because he's like writing this first person. He
yeah.
literally just talked about the Goose Girl's tits. And
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, he's like, they're
well,
great, and I don't care
we
that you know
literally talked
it.
about it last week. We're like, this guy's a giga chad. He's like 6'4", 220, plays two sports, lettered in both sports. It's like, how's this guy not hanging out with more women? And then we got a little bit more of it, right? Where he talks about in this section like this girl he was, probably hooking up with. And then now he talks about the goose girl and like how attractive she is. He talks about her breasts and stuff, and it's like, okay. Now it's
Yeah,
becoming a little more realistic, but it's
a little
still
realistic.
well, and it's funny because like now that we're kind of jumping ahead of that, I'll just talk briefly about obviously one of the I don't know what he is. I just think of because he describes him kind of like it. I just think of like Rumpelstiltskin, like a little person who's like evil.
Yeah,
Obviously holds him at gunpoint and stuff. And then there's that section when he's overpowering him where he's like, "Oh, up until this point, you must have thought I'm like this great guy. I don't do anything bad. I'm such a cool guy. I'm 6'4", I'm a Chad." And then he like breaks his wrist, and I'm like, honestly, I still think you're a Chad.
yeah, right.
Like that wasn't dark enough. I thought we were gonna go really dark all of a sudden. I thought
Yeah,
I thought we were like, oh god, he's gonna like
I was gonna
fucking
shoot him.
I thought he was either gonna shoot him in that moment, and that would like be a twist, right? It's like obviously the usual thing is like, oh, the hero lets him go, and then Rumpelstiltskin comes back later to stab him in the back or something. I
Yeah,
thought he was just gonna shoot him or like torture him and then kill him or something, but no, he just breaks his wrist. So I was like,
yeah.
I mean,
That would
yeah,
that's what also kind of makes it. a fairy tale
Yes,
kind of
very
like he's
much
adding on
so.
to the theme. Like this
It
character
works.
Stephen King has made, right? It's probably the most like Charlie is the most stereotypical like hero,
Yes.
but with more flaws or get given. But it seems like most of his flaws are just things he's done in the past, which we've all done things in the
Right.
past that we didn't like, but
It's not like he killed
we
anyone
moved
or
on. Yeah.
anything.
I mean, he did some well, I think the worst thing they did was the fake bomb call.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
But that's really bad. But it's like it was like so long ago and he's obviously already felt bad for it and he's pretty good dude. So he's like done enough to where it's like that's not you anymore. Like that like you might have been like that in the past, but that's not who you are now. And that was such a long time ago that I feel like he just hasn't forgiven himself. So he's still so I guess that's his flaw right now is he he tries to help so much because he feels like he he can't escape the bad things he's done. So he has a hard time forgiving himself, so he overcompensates by acting like a super nice person and doing everything that's right because he feels like that's the only way to make amends for what he's
Yeah.
done. But the thing is with that mindset, it'll never be good enough. So no matter what he does, he will never forgive himself. So it's like the first step is to just forgive yourself,
Right, and that's
or
probably
else he's
what
going to be
we're
in
gonna get like
yeah.
farther on in this journey for sure. I
Yeah.
I'm still, and I know we talked about this last time, and obviously it's a fairy tale, so like it really fits that theme with this character, especially this protagonist type character that we've talked about. But yeah, it's just hard. It's hard for me to relate to him, obviously, because I'm not a 6'4", 220 Giga Chad, but who's good at sports and also really smart. So
I mean, you're smart. You have a big boy job.
I'm a big boy. But I'm not,
You were an
6'4",
AP.
fucking, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not, it just seems like he's good at everything, honestly. Even with this, like, wrist break thing, it just didn't help me. Like, when you play a video game, like, play an RPG, where you create your own character, and,
yeah.
like, when the character pops up on the screen, like the generic looking RPG character. That's kind of what I'm imagining when I think of Charlie. To be
Yeah,
honest, like
that's
you
like
change
yeah.
nothing, and then the class you pick like warrior class, and yeah, like it's and you're a human
Yeah,
race. Yeah, it's just that kind of energy.
yeah.
But I'm
Because
liking more, like you said. There's a little bit more layers now. Obviously, the alcoholism stuff with his dad, and then now, like you said, he's having trouble like forgiving himself, so he feels like he almost has to go on. And obviously I love dogs, obviously. So I do like that, like really the only reason he's there is to help the dog, right?
yeah,
I mean, he doesn't really need to be there, but he cares about the dog so much that
yeah.
he
So
wants to, make her younger, which I don't know if that's gonna, obviously that's probably gonna come with a cost, which is like fascinating to me, like how Stephen King's gonna like whip this up, because
yeah,
obviously maybe that's gonna be part of the lesson too, is like you just need to let things die. Um, you just need to let things move on, because I imagine there's gonna be some kind of price for using the sundial.
yeah. Well, that brings in more things that I kind of want to talk about now. But
Yeah.
like real quick, I want to go back to Charlie as a character in general.
Hmm.
So I feel like you're having a hard time relating to him, and me too, is because he's basically already gone through all that character development off screen. Like he has a few more things to work out, but he kind of like glossed over like I was a bad kid and then I wasn't and got, so it's like and then now we're slowly learning more about the bad stuff he did, but because the majority of the book he's basically past that, there's really not much room for him to grow because he's already almost perfect morally that there's nothing that's a real challenge. I mean, we do get stuff like in this where he's like, I almost went back and said, "Oh, I'll just come back another time with radar," and then he was like, "Until," but he's like, "I know if I go back, I'm just gonna push it off until she dies." But it's like everyone would have thoughts like that, but he still decided not to do that. So it's like with his actions and what he's doing, it's like he's already morally superior than everyone else, that there's not much room for him to grow. And I think that's why we have a hard time relating to him, is because we didn't really go through that journey with him,
That's a
you know?
really, really good point. That's a really good way to explain it. And I think that's exactly why it's tough to relate to him. And even the alcoholism stuff that's supposed to kind of, create more depth with his character and like have a big and obviously they talked about it, and obviously he talked about it, and it was a fairly, detailed section in the last part we read, but it's still kind of glossed over. Like you said, we weren't really like there for it.
Yeah, and he was still like pretty much a good kid during those
Yeah,
times, or at
even
least
even
from
then he was, yeah, like not that bad.
like he
So,
did a few things,
right.
but it's like and unless we get more info about something truly heinous,
Mm,
because I mean the bomb threat is like that is, but there's still like little kids like during, and that's a hard time growing up, and everything he's done to like make up, I think he's made up for all of that stuff already.
absolutely.
Consider considering what he's done already. So it's just he's such a nice person. Even that's why I'm like, okay, so the only thing really relatable to him is if you still haven't like forgiven yourself for past
Right.
for past things you've done. So it's like, okay, so he still has some flaws. Uh so it's like I can relate to that, but but I've already kind of learned that lesson already of like forgiveness with how all that works. So it's kind of like I can relate to that, but it doesn't, for me at least, reading this book, it doesn't fully move me because we didn't go through like we went through the events, but not like other King books or like series where it's like heavily detailed and takes a long time. Like in The Stand, obviously no spoilers, but like the first part of The Stand, because it's split into three parts, is the longest. And I got the extended edition, like the one, the new one. So part one is so long and so detailed that you go through so much shit with all these characters that it's like, holy shit, like you're so attached to them. But since this is like a kind of like a one-off short story type thing, I don't know if we're supposed to get really attached to Charlie. I think we're mostly supposed to get attached to Radar.
Yes, and that's another point I was about to bring up. And I think everything you said there is pretty accurate, because like it's all, and of course this is a fairy tale angle, right? So like the whole theme is, like you said, it's kind of half grim fairy tale, half like, typical Disney fairy tale. But like it almost seems like, yeah, that Charlie, while he's an interesting character because he's going through this cool journey, his character himself is not necessarily that revolutionary, but the focus on Radar is a little different, and it almost seems like we're supposed to care more about that. And I like, I'm not like, and I'm not trying to say this is like a big, showstopper for me or anything like that. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
even if Charlie doesn't really change throughout this entire book, if he kind of just stays the same and we don't really, have any major changes or anything like that, or major lessons with Charlie, I think it's fine, just because, like, again, it's kind of a fairy tale angle, and the
Yeah.
focus is more, again, on Radar, and also just like the world, right? The fairy tale world, and like the comparisons between, grim fairy tales and normal fairy tales, and like how Stephen King can create this world. So like it's not a big deal, You know,
Yeah.
he doesn't have to be insanely relatable for me to enjoy every other aspect of this book,
Yeah.
which I have so far. So
And sorry.
no, that's it. Yeah.
Oh. So saying there's like in this one section we just read, there's just so many things to unpack that
Mm-hmm.
like one of the first things I want to talk about. So like I said, like the main focus is radar. So beginning of the book starts off with the goddamn bridge. He can't even start the story without mentioning his mother's death that he could do nothing about. He couldn't save her, couldn't help her, nothing. And he loved his mom. Now he loves this dog and he actually has a chance to save her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So with like comparing the death of his mom to the dog, loves both, couldn't help his mom, but can help the dog. So I wonder if, because obviously so I haven't lost a parent, but I know like my grandparents have died, and I've talked to my parents about how it feels, and like I had a recent grandpa who just passed, so I was talking to my mom about like how does it feel because I don't know how it feels, and I know uh you as well, but like it's when I would talk to them, they would just say like it gets you just go day by day, and it gets time eventually like heals all wounds, I guess. Like you never like completely like I don't want to say they haven't like gotten over it because my mom's is still pretty fresh, but my dad's was like when his parents died, I was in like middle school, I think. Anyway, like he tells me like yeah he misses him, but it gets better every day or something like that. So it's just like I don't know if it's gonna play big in with Charlie or not, seeing how he couldn't save his mom, but but he has a chance to save Radar, and I wonder what the price will be for that, and how it's all gonna come into play. You know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that is exactly why he's going through all this stuff. So that's a really good comparison. Obviously the child trauma of losing a parent, and then he's kind of projecting that energy onto Radar, where, like you said, now he has an opportunity to save her by making her younger on this sundial. So yeah, he's doing all this stuff because part of it is Radar obviously loves Radar, but part of it is like un unresolved feelings from the mother for sure. So
Mm.
I'm definitely interested to see as well what's gonna happen. But he also adds on he tacks on another thing obviously after meeting the Goose Girl,
Yeah.
um, who is the hottest girl in the world apparently.
Obviously, I
No
would kiss
mouth,
her
but
no lip mouth.
yeah. But yeah, no, he kind of tacks on another goal of like helping her, right? And trying to help the world in general, right? But
Yeah,
especially help her with her issue. And obviously, we find out later when he talks to the uncle that each one of the royal family has like lost one of their senses. Um,
yeah. So isn't
yeah, go ahead.
oh sorry, I didn't know if you were still
No, go ahead.
I was saying, so like so far it's like everyone we've met has either been cursed with the gray,
Yeah,
or they've been cursed by losing some sort of sense. So I'm trying to piece together what the significance of this is, to where they got cursed somehow, and we still don't know exactly how, but it pretty much probably has something to do with the sundial, or at least with the power of this evil guy, which can't remember his name because I don't think they've said it often.
yeah. They only said it
So
once. I think the uncle, and it was Flight Killer.
yeah, Flight Killer. So I do find it very interesting of the way Stephen King is making this fairy tale land seem unique and interesting, because it seems like most main like all the main people that Charlie has to talk to has to communicate in a different kind of way. So like
Right.
the first person, the shoe lady, uh she obviously can't speak, so she has to use some words she knows or some symbols with her hands or jump around, make noises like that sort of thing. And then the goose girl doesn't have a mouth, so she's a ventriloquist. She uses the horse. And then like the third guy can't see, so he communicates, but he can still communicate through just talking normally. But then when it comes to like words, he has to use that like what do they call it? It's like the book with for
Oh,
blind
Braille.
people,
Yeah,
Braille,
Braille.
yeah.
Hmm.
So and Stephen King's making a huge emphasis on language and how it's utilized because they even had a certain part in here where Charlie was talking about how he's saying words that he normally wouldn't say, but he doesn't know why he's saying it this way,
Right.
and he doesn't know why he can't say certain words. But it's almost like an old school kind of modernized fairy. If a modernized fairy tale was written, this is kind of what it would sound like. So it's I'm wondering what the emphasis on language is, and I'm interesting to see where that goes. If it goes anywhere, or if it's just a unique writing style to keep the story interesting, or if there's going to be a point to it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe the flight killer has something to do with the way, you know, language is utilized in the world, or maybe he has some kind of control over that or something. But yeah, no, that's a good point. What do you think about we have another kind of Rumpelstiltskin type dwarf
Yeah.
dude who doesn't, I guess, doesn't isn't the same one because he doesn't seem to know him, but he's just like stabbing a large cricket. And this is when we
Yeah.
go back to like Stephen King, where it's like, all right, yeah, we're reading a Stephen King book. It's just
Yeah. Yeah, right.
uh,
Uh, so you're asking me what I think about that whole situation?
yeah,
So if I was Charlie, okay, so I'm Charlie, right? I got this old dog I'm trying to save the life of. No one's really giving me too much information on anything, so I barely know anything. I'm just trying to get to the sundial, and I already know it's going to be dangerous. And I have to take care of a dog that I love and I'm trying to save. So I'm in a foreign land, and so it's like, okay, so my goal is to get to the sundial and save radar, and then that's the goal. So you're walking down the path, right, and you see this fucking lunatic stabbing a giant cricket. uh I'm gonna just leave him alone. Fuck it, like I don't give a shit. Like, it's like
You
I
know
got
what?
more
I got other
important
shit
things to
to
worry
do,
about. Yeah,
man.
I got more important things. It's like, so I'm like, Charlie, like, this is where I'm just kind of like, yeah, you're such a good guy that you're so stupid. Because I'm just
Yeah, he's
like,
very gullible.
like
Yeah.
I get that, like, I guess if you cherish life so much that you feel bad for this cricket, and like, yeah, I would probably feel a little bad too, but at the end of the day, it's a fucking cricket, and that's a lunatic with a knife. And so you have all this shit to do, and it's a dangerous land, and you're gonna go out there and make more enemies for yourself. I'm like, you're literally just, and then he doesn't even kill him, which I'm not
I
saying he
know,
should
right?
just kill people, but you literally go up to this dude, little midget guy, and you call him names, you make fun of him, then you shoot a bullet near him, and it's like, and then you just let him leave with his knife. You think that guy is like, that guy was crazy, dude. He was nuts. You're talking to him,
Yeah,
it's like that guy's gonna fucking try to kill you. And so, in my opinion, I'm like, that just comes with uh a hero, what my sister calls a hero complex, where it's
right.
like
Yeah.
I feel like this has again to do with, because he sees himself as such a bad person, that in order to make up for what he's done. He just tries to be as good as possible. So he sees this happening, and it's almost like an instinct to where he's not even thinking about it of like why he's trying to protect this cricket, but it's because he can't forgive himself for what he's done. So he tries to be as heroic as possible. But I think it's all subconscious. Like I don't think he's like aware of this issue that he has. So he just goes up to a random lunatic. I'm telling you, I wouldn't have done it. I would have just said, okay, well, that cricket's fucked. Fucking cricket. I'm gonna go save this dog. I got more important shit to do. So
Yeah,
instead of making enemies, more
he's
enemies, you know?
he's definitely gullible and definitely young, obviously. You know, the youth kind of shows with that too. I was a little frightened by this scene, to be honest, because it kind of felt like it was foreshadowing this Rumpelstiltskin guy getting a hold of Radar later, just because you have a helpless cricket that can't get away, and he's just stabbing it slowly. And then Charlie mentions that oh, Radar in her prime, if this Rumpelstiltskin guy tried to do that to her, she would fuck him up, but like she's not in her prime anymore. And it just kind of is a side thought in that scene, but to me it signaled it's like, oh, it's like Stephen King gonna have one of these dwarf dudes get a hold of Radar before he can get to the sundial or something, and they're gonna fuck Radar up for a little bit, and he's gonna have to save her, similar to what he had to do with his cricket. Um, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. But
Yeah. And
there's a lot of
I feel it.
enemies in this. Yeah, he's made a lot of enemies, man. Already two Rumpelstiltskin guys, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then fucking these wolf things, the wolf things, and then there's also the night soldiers. There's a lot of different fantasy, beasts
Yeah, there's
prevalent.
a lot going on.
Yeah.
And I just lost my train of thought. If it comes back to me, I'll
No,
mention
it's
it. Oh yeah, okay, I remember now. So yeah, what you said about naivety is true because it's like you it's like let's say you're traveling with a baby and it's just you and that baby. And then you're walking down the street and you see this other guy, this guy like kind of violent guy just beating the shit out of like a dog or something, right? And and yeah, it's like you would want to save the dog, but you have this baby with you, and that guy is fucking crazy, and it's like you want to save the dog, so you'd probably just call the police or something. But let's just say you don't have your phone on you, and you can't call the police, and no one's around to notice this guy beating up the dog. Are you gonna go confront that guy to stop beating up the dog, but you have like a baby that you're holding that you need to take care of? Or are you gonna go confront you're gonna confront this guy and possibly have him be violent towards you when you're trying to protect a baby? It's just not a smart thing to do. At the end of the day, the baby's more important. I hate to say it, but it's
I
like
mean, me
your
personally,
priority.
man, yeah, I would
Yours
help the
would,
dog. I don't give a shit about
yeah, okay, yours would be
baby.
different. Yours would be different.
Honestly, like I would help the dog. I mean, like I get what you're saying though. I get the comparison. I mean, if I was walking down the street and a homeless guy was beating up a wall or he, but yeah,
All
no, a
right.
dog, I'm helping the dog. That's fucked. Yeah, I'm helping
Oh
the
yeah.
dog, honestly. But like with I get what you mean though, for
Yeah,
sure.
because it's like,
It's well, and the statistics back it up, right? Where it's like, the bystander thing, where like not very many people will intervene, right? It's very
yeah.
rare.
But I mean, it would be different if it was like if you didn't have something precious you were protecting.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
like it's like you had to protect something that can't protect itself. So while you're trying to protect this thing, it's not a smart move to go out and make more enemies. It's like
Mm-hmm.
focus on protecting what you have. So it's like for a lot of people who have concealed carries, I haven't taken the class, but I've heard like people talk about like in the class a lot of people who are actually trained in guns and like law enforcement and everything don't like the way instructors teach concealed carries. Because apparently, this is all coming from a third source, so it's like hearsay on my part. So take it as you will. But a lot of these people would tell me that the instructors would be like, "Yeah, you see someone like you're at the gas station or if you're at a store and someone pulls out a gun, it's your duty to like go and take care of it." You know, and it's like, no, it's no, not completely, because it's like let's say you're at the store and you have like your family with you. Your first priority is getting your family to safety, and then if you want to go back, I guess. But like you or just leave it to the police. Like the gun is there to protect you and your family. So it's like if you have something that you're protecting that can't protect itself, then you should just focus on that and let the police deal with the other thing. So it's like, and so but if the guy like comes near you, obviously like protect your family. So it's kind of like that's kind of like how I see this situation, is that Charlie is being like, it's a cricket, At the end of the day, it's a fucking cricket, and you're trying to protect. Radar's more important than making enemies with this crazy cricket stabber. So, so
Another
it's like,
Rumpelstiltskin. I just can't get that out of
uh,
my brain. These
you're
little
right.
Rumpelstiltskins are.
Huh?
What do you think about the significance of the cricket being like red? And then obviously the uncle even brings up, it's like, oh, a red cricket, that's so rare. And then he like doesn't really elaborate on it, but
Yeah, I've been
I have
thinking
no
about
idea
that.
what that fucking means. But
Like, maybe it's supposed to represent that. Um.
I literally have no
All right.
idea. So like
Okay.
I know they
So
brought. I
anything?
guess I only bring it up also just so like I can remember it because maybe it'll come up again later on.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
like that is odd for sure. That even the
so
uncle
maybe,
is like it. That's rare.
yeah, maybe it's like you said earlier, some with the bystander effect. So right now I'm just kind of brainstorming and see if we can come up with anything.
Hmm.
So like, so regardless of what I think Charlie did, it was definitely noble and
Yeah.
is a heroic trait, regardless if I think it was stupid or not. But so it might be kind of like a comparison to the cricket being rare, but in this world, it's also rare for people to help each other. But because it's so cruel, so and all Charlie has been helped along the way, obviously, and then the people he's met also help others in some form or way too. So it's so I guess there could be a comparison there between people actually going out of their way to help to call out uh, something evil and trying to fight against it. Because like you said, a lot of like the bystander effect, a lot of people won't do anything because they'll expect other people to do it
Hmm.
for them. So so for the cricket being rare, to the whole situation of people helping or trying to help is rare. Maybe there's something significant there. Uh, maybe just the cricket being a rare cricket. Uh, I don't know. I'm like trying to think, and there probably is something there. I'm just stupid, so
Yeah. No.
I'm
I
just like
mean, it might be a reference to something, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's good to. Yeah, I just kind of called it out just for myself almost, so that maybe later on it'll make more sense.
like I, also with that scene, how with Rumpelstiltskin character guy,
Hmm.
when he was talking to Charlie, he was like talking about how this land brings nothing but like pain, sorrow, and boredom and stuff, and
Hmm.
so this is what he does to entertain himself. Uh, and not only like saying stuff like that, but then he's like, uh, when Charlie asked him why he didn't get any deformations or whatever from the curse and stuff, and he's like, may the gods have probably thought that I was cursed enough, So it's like,
Right.
and then he's just like, what would you know about being cursed or whatever? He's like, you're tall, built, you're normal. you don't understand what it's like to be someone like me, and so I guess that also has a lot of things pointed through that little quick conversation. Goes to show that maybe even though the guy was like stabbing a cricket, Charlie could have been more, I guess, a little more thoughtful. I get like, because it's hard because it's like you see someone doing something fucked up, and like you don't want to treat them nicely, but it's like, do you just pour fire onto a fire to put it out? No. So I guess it's like one of those things where it's like, could Charlie have handled the situation better? I don't know. Now I'm just kind of rambling, but
No, yeah, no,
there's like a lot to unpack here in
yeah,
this one little scene.
yeah, no, for sure.
What did you get anything from the conversation in general? Because it was pretty obvious that, like, well, okay, like, just looking at them both, you got small man with a knife, and you got big guy with a gun, and and showing that the little guy, Rumpelstiltskin guy, feels like he's uh was born unlucky. That's why he wasn't like cursed or anything. So he's like, he does feel cursed and underappreciated, and like the world treats him like shit because he's different. That's kind of how he turned out this way. And then you have a big normal guy coming to the guy who was born deformed, comes up to him and starts, bossing him around, talking shit and all this stuff. And then it's almost like, you don't know what I've been through. Who are you to judge me? You're not even from this world, and it's a bug. Who are you to judge? So it's like
Right.
there's a lot going on.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you can definitely see how the dwarf guy kind of why he probably became that way in this weird fairy tale world, and then you can obviously see how Charlie was his experiences and how he grew up. It makes him the way he is. So yeah, you can definitely see that comparison. And then obviously, you got two dwarf guys probably gonna come back to bite you later on because of these actions that you took
Yeah,
with not killing him. Probably should have just killed him,
probably should have, but
but
wonder how it would
he can't.
change Charlie's
Yeah,
character.
he's not going to obviously because
Yeah,
he's
well,
perfect basically.
I think he'll kill the. I think I'm gonna predict now. I think he's gonna shoot the main bad guy at
Yeah,
the end,
yeah,
whoever it is, and he's gonna kill him because it's like, well, what's there's people. Some people are, you could say, are beyond saving. Like, have just been so so like a threat is so evil and so malicious that nothing you could do besides destroying them would stop it. So, because like there's like some enemies you could bring back, I guess, to the light. I get, but there's some enemies that
just gotta
won't.
shoot him.
Like, no matter what you do, so it's like, I think we're gonna be learning that. Like, Charlie's been able to scare off every bad guy so far just by either breaking their wrist, pointing a gun at him. Uh, but I know there's gonna at one point he's gonna meet an enemy to where that's not gonna phase him. Like, you're gonna have to do it. And so we'll see what happens when Charlie gets to that point,
Yeah,
if he
definitely.
does.
It's gonna become more real pretty soon here.
Yeah, I really want to get to the sundial and see
I know. When we get to this
what it
palace,
is.
that's almost like the other transition. You had Howard die, and then once we get to the palace and the sundial, it's gonna be a whole nother thing. And obviously, he's gonna get stuck there, like or something. Like we're gonna see the night soldiers. Like there's no way we're not gonna at least see them. You know.
Yeah.
Because everybody's like, don't get caught there at night, don't do it, and then like obviously he's gonna get stuck there somehow.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
So, but
Well,
yeah,
I
I'm
don't know.
excited.
Stephen King's not very predictable
It's true.
sometimes.
That's true.
So, but also this book is following a fairy tale, like it's kind of pattern.
Hmm.
So he probably will. Yeah, he probably will be out there in the dark
Yeah,
and
we'll
have to
see.
fight his way through it. What uh, what was your biggest takeaway from this section?
Um, I think your comparison there was really apt, and like what you talked about earlier, like more of the focus on the dog, right, rather than Charlie itself. Even though it seemed obviously Charlie's telling it from his first person view, as the story gets further along, it really is more about Radar at the end of the day, and it's more about that character. And then also, like you said, I think if we're gonna go off of what is more believable, I guess, him trying to redeem himself is ultimately also why he's trying to do this, and also trying to make up for the fact that he couldn't control anything about his mom's death, and now he's trying to make up with it with saving Radar. But we've seen stories like this, and again, it's a fairy tale, of course. We've seen stories like this, so there's always going to be a price, right? And things
Yeah,
aren't going to go exactly the way they're supposed to, and yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. How about yourself?
I think I guess my biggest takeaway of this section so far is what is what is the price or what is the sacrifice you'll make in order to keep living?
Yeah,
So, because we get that from like the gray people, they're obviously dying super slowly, and they like seem to have lost all hope. Most of them, like I'd say 99% of them, but
yeah,
they still continue to live.
right.
So I think that says something monumental about the will to live, as well as these other people. Like everyone has a deformity, yet they, instead of dying and giving up, they still continue to live. And I think hope really has a big a big part of this section as well. Because or what? Why else? Like at this point, hope would be the only thing that would keep you going. You know.
Yeah,
So,
no, for sure.
so I guess that's what I thought of.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm retarded, so call me shimmy. So, do you wanna do a quick little kind of spoiler section for like
Yeah,
other
yeah,
books, real quick, some comparisons, some contrast, just to kind of spice it up a little bit.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, we'll
Uh,
give everybody a warning here. We're gonna talk about other like Stephen King books and how it kind of compare and contrast to this story. So this is your warning.
Yep. 10, 9, 8,
Seven, six,
7,
five, four, three, two, one.
6. Yeah, okay, we're good. Yeah, fuck them.
No, I
All
mean
right.
the first thing that comes to mind with me is like the world moving on in like the Dark Tower. Like it's kind of the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
energy, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And he's
Yeah,
going to
that's
a
exactly.
palace, basically the Dark Tower.
Is that a Dark
So,
Tower reference?
yeah. There's a ton of Dark Tower references in this,
Dude,
obviously. Every time he touches the gun, I'm not a gunslinger, but
I'm not. Yeah, right. I was like,
yeah.
I wonder what Roland's up to right
Roland would have shot both
now.
those motherfucking
Oh yeah.
Rumpelstiltskin guys, no
Oh yeah.
hesitation.
He would. It would have been
He would have immediately
immediately
shot them. He wouldn't even have talked to them. He would have just shot him in the
like.
head, and that'd be it.
That's so funny. And, like the guy, the one who like, if Roland saw someone stabbing a cricket, he probably wouldn't even have gave a shit. He would have just kept
Probably not.
walking. He probably wouldn't
Probably
have.
not.
But the first guy would have killed no problem.
Yeah, he would have shot him
Like
immediately.
it was, it was so funny. And uh, I can't. So like the gray people, I know there was gray people mentioned it in Dark Tower, like
Yes,
mutants
yes,
and everything.
yes, yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's very similar to Midworld moving on.
Yeah, I was. and then the whole time is because you know how like Cause the Wheel and like Dark Tower at the end of Dark Tower, they
Mm-hmm.
it's just rolling, repeating the cycle. So like
Yeah,
everything gets like reset.
absolutely.
So the worlds are always moving on, and that's kind of like another thing with I guess reading is like once you finish a book, you can always reread it from the start to finish, and it's the same thing. Like the world is moving on as you're reading it, and then resets once you finish it.
Yep.
It's kind of like a Dark Tower because the whole adventure Roland goes through, and that's the world moving on as you're reading through the series, and then at the end, he gets sucked into the door and sent back to the beginning of his journey, which is, you finish the book. So if you started over again, that it would be the world moving on again. You know how it's like a cycle, right?
Yeah.
So that's what this world is reminding me of is Midworld, and that's pretty.
Absolutely. No, it's definitely very similar vibe. It's just condensed though, you know.
Yeah.
It's condensed. It's not as much detail and length as Dark Tower is. And obviously Charlie's a way different character. He's way more morally,
Oh yeah.
sound. Um
Yeah.
and like yeah, I mean the gray people definitely remind me of people moving on. And obviously like the Dark Tower is all about like again, stories like you said and how stories end and begin and how stories are written. And this is similar too, of course. We're going through the hero's journey from a pretty, typical perspective, like with a fairy tale theme. All of it is kind of surrounding that, but it has its own Stephen King flair. So
Yeah.
but that's kind of
And
how I felt with Dark Tower too. Is like, all right, this is a long fantasy series. It's kind of similar, at least in the beginning, to like other fantasy series is of similar length, but it's Stephen King's own like take on it. So,
yeah.
you know,
And the whole time I keep comparing Charlie to Jake
yeah,
because Jake
definitely
is so much
right.
younger than Charlie,
Yes,
and
true.
I'm like Jake wouldn't have fucking hesitated either. I'm like Jake's a badass. So it's like, and I just to be honest, I just like Jake Chambers a lot better than Charlie.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, no, he's well,
but
and
we
like you
went
said, we were there for Jake's.
7 books,
Yeah,
so
shit. So like, yeah, like you said, it's
yeah,
very glossed over in this book, which I understand that's not the focus of this book, right? The focus is not necessarily, Charlie and his struggles. It's more like on the world, on radar, on like the fairy tale aspect, you know.
yeah.
So
You got Charlie and Radar, and then you got like Jake and Oi,
yeah,
and so it's like
absolutely.
that's why
Uh,
I keep getting the callbacks. Like I love Radar, but Oi's my boy.
yeah,
Like,
definitely.
you know, like now I want a dog.
I know,
I
right?
don't.
Just
Yeah, my
kidding. I have
dog
like
died.
50.
Yeah, you got a million fucking dogs.
No, I feel the energy for sure. Anytime, like, especially when it gets like fucking emotional, when Charlie's like, I'll do anything to like fucking help this dog, I'm like, honestly, I'd probably do this shit too.
Right? Because like I would, yeah, I'd probably do this for
Yeah, I think
Lexi. I
most
mean, she
people
died
would for,
last
yeah,
year.
their dogs, just because, you just get attached.
Yeah, every time he describes like her being old, I'm just like, oh, that's exactly what my dog looked like.
Yeah, it
I'm just like, oh my
sucks.
god.
Yeah.
So it's like, what other Stephen King
Trying to
references did I feel
think.
like in here? See, I was wrong about the thinny. Like I thought it was a
I
thinny
thought that was
in the
an
shed.
awesome guess though. Like if
Yeah,
he was really trying to like stick to his kind of, meta and his universe and shit, I think he would have made it a thinny. But for the context of this book, it makes sense to like really fit the fairy tale. And obviously he compares it to Jack and the Beanstalk. So, it
yeah.
makes sense. But I
It's
thought
like,
that was a great guess.
yeah, yeah. Because it was described just
Yeah,
like
no, absolutely. Same
just like it.
similar sound. Similar sound.
So, but do you think so? I definitely feel like he did go through a thinny to get to this land because there's literally no other way,
Yeah, I mean, he
or like the
still like
doorways.
passes a threshold, and then
Yeah.
he can feel it when he passes that threshold. So yeah, you could still
Oh,
kind of even compare it to
well, I guess
that.
it wasn't a thinny then. because
Well, I mean,
the doorways aren't thinnies, and you can travel through worlds between the
you
doorways.
never know like how he meant it to be interpreted until you like literally ask him, but obviously, maybe he meant for people who've read The Dark Tower or other books that have thinnies to be like, "Oh, this is probably going to be a thinny." Obviously, it's not going to be a thinny, but he still makes it seem like it's going to be as like a little
Yeah,
Easter egg to like remind you of like, other books.
yeah. Do you think Charlie went toe dash when they were talking about like his body kind of feels like it's leaving his
It's
body, like his soul's like
definitely
leaving his body? That
definitely
was
a
very toe
similar
dashy.
yeah, definitely similar description. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's um yeah, ultimately what happened there.
Yeah, because that's kind of like how I feel like some of the times, like when Roland and and everyone else like sometimes traveled in the later books was through toe dash is how they traveled through different worlds.
Yeah, good
And
point.
even when like Callahan, when he jumped out of that building in his flashback to get away from the vampires, and
Right.
Randall Flagg, when he like fell to his death, he didn't die. He just kind of like teleported.
Uh-huh.
I feel like that was just another kind of toe dash state too. So it's like I feel like Charlie went kind of toe dash through a doorway that led them to this world. So I mean, I don't know if that's right, but I'm sticking to that until I'm told differently.
Yeah. No, I could see it for sure.
And then there are some people in this area that read minds or
Mhm.
a little bit. So like when Charlie was taught like thinking about leaving, and that maid was like, "Stay, you need to stay and help her." And it's like, was she reading his mind? Was that the touch? Did she have the touch? She have the
Right,
shining.
exactly, The Shining, yeah.
Um,
Right.
so it's just like little things like that that get me thinking about his other the about everything, because like obviously Dark Tower literally explains everything that has to do with how the universe operates. So it's like when I see stuff like something like that, which you could also just interpret as like Char Charlie's just thinking to himself, and then this lady is just like, please help her, you know. But then it's like once you read the other stuff, it's like, can she read his mind and like knew he wanted to leave, so she was like, stay. But since Charlie doesn't know what the touch is or the shining, he's just like, oh, what a coincidence, you know. So it's like,
Yeah, no, it makes it
who
fun,
knows?
for sure.
Yeah,
It
it
does.
really fun.
Yeah.
Uh, is there anything else you'd want to spoiler wise, I guess, talk about?
I don't think I have anything else. Like, I'm trying
Yeah,
to
I'm
think.
kind
Yeah, I think we covered everything that I noticed at least.
of the cricket is a reference to book 4 Wizard in Glass.
Bro, maybe that is why they fucking called it out being red. Maybe there's another book he wrote where there's a red cricket. I don't know.
The
Yeah.
Crimson King,
Crimson King.
he's red.
True. True.
He's red. Uh,
He
and
is.
he's rare.
Yeah.
What else is red? Red rum. That's a Shining reference.
Okay. There you go.
It spells murder backwards.
Good point. Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff that to do with red. Mordred. His
Yeah.
Wait, was his eyes red? I know they're like blue when he's a human.
I know he had like red on him when he was a spider.
Yeah. Where's Randall Flagg? Bring him back. I want to
Right.
see him in.
Could be the flight
He'd
killer. We'll see.
Yeah, he'd fuck Charlie up.
Yeah.
No, like I'm being honest. Like Charlie is not. He is not the kind of guy. A, like I know he. Okay, I know it seems like he's like main hero, like heroic badass guy, but he's way too ignorant to take on Randall Flagg. So
Yeah, no, I mean it's very much like a fairy tale. Again, it's very much like a fairy tale, and it's just like a fun read for that reason.
yeah,
Sometimes you don't need to fucking, remake the wheel. You don't need to make it, crazy different. Like I'm having a lot of fun with this, you know.
yeah.
So
It's just a Stephen King kind of take on a light-hearted fairy tale. So there's
Yeah,
some dark stuff, but
some
it
a little bit
honestly
in
hasn't
there.
been that bad.
It's like a
So
perfect. I mean, we'll see once we're done with the book. At least so far, it's like a perfect book to like almost introduce someone to Stephen King. Like if maybe they have preconceived notions about his writing and they're like, I don't want to read it because of A, B, or C. Like I feel like this is a good book to start with
yeah,
because it's got a
I f-
little bit of dark themes, but it's also just like really fun.
yeah,
So
like so far, like I would probably like you could give this book to like a preteen,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you
you
could give it to
know.
any age group for sure. Which almost like
Well, maybe
to
not any age group, but like
well, not any, almost any. I mean,
yeah,
like
like you give it to like
honestly,
13,
yeah,
14,
like
I
you
would
could.
say.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna give it to like a 5-year-old, but yeah, like
Oh,
even
yeah.
like a middle schooler. But like, it's almost Stephen King coming full circle, where he's gotten to a point where he's so I don't know, he's older now, and he's obviously a really good writer, and this is just like I don't know. It's just showing off like he can write like a really good story that can be digestible by most audiences, at least so far
Yeah.
as well. So
I
it
mean,
doesn't have to be a fucking, super scary or like bloodbath or like anything like that. It can
yeah,
just
it's
be
just a
like
simple
this and
story.
yeah, and it's still a lot of fun. So
Yeah. So far I still like the wind through the keyhole story better than this. Uh I don't know if that's just because I had such a hype for the Dark Tower at the time of reading it,
mhm.
but that like the wind through the keyhole kept me extremely interested like every second. And I'm just talking about the went through the keyhole story, not the rest of the book and
Yeah,
in this
not
discussion.
the Skin Man stuff.
Yeah, like not all that, just the fairy tale that went through the keyhole
Yes.
uh kept me like I would say I was a whole lot more engaged in that story than I am in this story. And I'm not saying that I don't like this story because I do like this story as well, but I'm just comparing it to other stuff we've read, I meant, from Stephen King. And I don't know, I guess maybe it's just because the mid-world type aspects of that fairy tale and it was a lot darker and gruesome. That's kind of I like the darker aspects of it, and so far this has been pretty lighthearted for the
Mhm.
most part, which I
Mhm.
still like. I just don't like as much, you know. So it's
Yeah,
just
no.
interesting so far. I guess we'll see once they get to the sundial because who knows? It may we still haven't gotten a very interesting penis description yet from Stephen King. So I'm still waiting
Yeah.
on when it's gonna show up or
Yes.
you know.
I'm honestly like glad it hasn't. Cause I was almost like, this guy cannot keep writing like this his entire life. Like I feel like there's gonna get to a point where he's gonna get old enough and he's gonna be like this kind of book where he's like, I'm just gonna write a fairy tale ass book. It's gonna have a little bit of dark themes in it, but it's going to be a really fun read, and it doesn't have to have all that other weird shit for it to be fun. So it's almost like it's more impressive to me that he's writing a book like this rather than just writing another book that we're used to, right? It's
Yeah.
a different way of writing, and he's not leaning on the shock factor of something being really gruesome or fucking weird,
Yeah.
to make it
I do, yeah.
interesting.
I do
So
like that
I like that.
as
But I
well.
agree with you. I like the Win Through the Keyhole book or story a little better. But also the Win Through the Keyhole story, like, it's it's
That's an
heavy
absolute banger.
heavy hitting and it's shorter, obviously, so there's not as much like detail, it's just like this. So
Yeah.
but both are great. Both are great. But yeah, I like the Win Through the Keyhole one a little better so far. But we'll see, man. We'll see.
Yeah.
When we get to this palace, I'm excited. So
Yeah. Guess we'll see. I
hey.
mean, how much more of the books do we even have? Because it isn't a very long book. I
No,
only
it's
got
not
10
crazy
hours left.
long. Yeah, it's not very long.
Let's see. Yes. 32 chapter. Oh, but 32 chapters, but most of them are like. I guess most of them are good sizes. I'm gonna do like 17 to. How many hours do you want to do?
Let's see here. So we just
Or I
read
guess it's 60.
15, right? So
Yeah.
now we're on 16. I mean, we've been going about like 5 or 6. I think that's fairly good pace for me right now. What is this at here? 10:46.
So if I got like
You go to like,
11 like showers left,
yeah.
that's then maybe do like 5 hours, 5, 6 hours.
You want to go to 23? Let's see, 10.
Oh yeah, that seems like a good chunk, and then we could finish the book
Yeah, then we could
after
probably
that.
just finish it.
Yeah, 23 sounds good to me.
Okay, cool.
Because you don't want to do too much because we actually want to talk about things, And if
Yeah,
there's too much to talk about, then we'll end up missing stuff.
yeah. I think we can do 23 and then probably, yeah, finish the book after that.
Cool.
All
That works for
right,
me.
cool. Well,
Goodbye.
yeah. We'll see you later.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. No, we know no one's
We
listening
don't
to
give a
this
fuck
part.
about this shit.
Yeah, fuck.